2026 FIFA World Cup. Now the World Cup is over, but the dust has not settled, and that is what we are going to be discussing today. The 2026 FIFA World Cup. How has it fared? The pros, the cons. There are issues, really, as we journey through the World Cup, and there are advantages, there are disadvantages, there are winners, there are losers. Some people wept, some people lost their jobs. These and many more we'll be discussing on this show this morning. And we have two gentlemen of repute that would be discussing this with us. To my immediate left, I have Akim Obe, the sport enthusiast, football enthusiast, a friend of the house. Welcome to the program.
It's good to be here.
All right, I also have a veteran sport journalist, one of those we learned from on the job, Wale Anabi. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
It's a pleasure.
All right, Simiat is here. I'm sure Simiat probably watched half of a match, of one of the matches. If she ever watched the whole 30 minutes.
I don't know what you mean by that, but of course we're discussing sports this morning.
Football, yeah,
Football.
FIFA World Cup. Yeah.
Definitely, maybe I should start by asking your reaction, because of course for every competition, every event in sport, you have your predictions, which country is going to, win. At the beginning, people even bet. I want to get your reaction I want to feel your reactions when the World Cup started. Did you envisage what happened yesterday as something that would actually happen?
For me, well, it's tough to not agree with that in the beginning. Surely there's a general view of things, there's personal view of things. You can talk from a clear analytical, angle, and you can be biased sometimes, even though we are humans. It's natural that you are attracted to or drawn towards a particular team. For me, I was rooting for France at first, and then because of the obvious, they have the best attack in the tournament. And then towards I think when they played Spain, that was when I was convinced that the Spanish guy was going to win. And also because of the fact that there are some reasons beyond football that states that Spain were likely going to win, because in 2010 they had similar routes, to the final. They were in the same group. They beat the same team in this round of 16. They had the numbers of Barcelona players in the team. The tournament was started with the same team as 2010, so lots of things, and they even went on to win in the final in the extra time yesterday. The same way it happened in 2010. So it's apart from that, they're a good football inside, and I think the Spanish FA have Barcelona to thank for that. If you look at that team, how they play, that's literally Barcelona template in that team. They have like 8 players of Barcelona in that team. Most of them are regulars, playing well for the team. And the same way with the women national team. That's why I said they have Barcelona to thank. They have like 8 to 11 players, Barcelona players in the female team, and they are now the first team to have the World Cup in men's and women's competition at the same time. So it's incredible. It's the Spanish world. We're just living in it.
Okay, Mr. Alabi, maybe you react to that as well, looking at the legacy of what the 2022 World Cup was in Qatar. A lot of people, stemming from the controversies, the political narrative, in this particular, edition of the World Cup, and maybe you do a comparison as to your expectations and, of course, what happened in 2022 Qatar.
Yeah, there were many narratives in this World Cup, and they actually dictated how it went. Just like he said, many of us felt, okay, perhaps France, perhaps Spain, Argentina, based on the fact that the 2 of them are continental champions. Yes. Spain being European champions, the South American champions. So one expected that, okay, out of those 3, forget the noise England will make. Now, and as the competition grew, a lot of those narratives, there's a constant one, which is that of officiating. Mm-hmm. And it kept on coming up up to even the last minute yesterday. So those things helped to shape how the competition was going to be. But all in all, we've had a very good tournament. No doubt about it, in terms of the quality of football that was put on display. Unfortunately, the issues that surrounded the competition from the beginning, the issue of the referee being sent back, this other one, some players like I think Partey, not being given the visa then because of other issues, and so many other things that surrounded. Of course, we know the normal US issues. So those are the things that actually try to shape. But football, as it is always, will always overcome those things.
True.
And it did, because nobody had complaints yesterday. Yeah, the Argentines were not happy, as we all know. Yeah, it must be. But we all felt, yeah, we've had a good tournament. We've had a good tournament, and compared to 2022, yes, there's been an improvement, because everybody felt, oh, something lived up to expectation. Some of us might not have been happy because it has given a situation whereby some are like, that is the swan song for them, and it ended badly for them. Going from Ronaldo to Messi, look at Rodri. But at the same time, we cannot complain about the 2026 World Cup, and we can only look forward to 2030.
Mr. Rabia, I'll still stay with you. You mentioned politics earlier on, and we can't. I personally felt that Infantino had to manage Donald Trump for the success of this 2026 World Cup. Now, and I know that in the last press conference before the final, Trump was saying that they want to host the World Cup alone. Now, with all these that has happened, do you still see, how do we separate sports from politics?
It is not always easy. It is not always easy, because sports goes with everything about our life, the emotions and things like that. So politics is the same thing. So it's not always easy. But sports, all the time, because of the regulations that are put in place, we've always been able to manage it. And because what you've had, if Trump had had his way, of course, he would have even said the final match should be played in his bedroom. But things are the way it's. So Infantino, I'm a very strong critic of Infantino in the last 3 or 4 years. And that's because it's like he got overwhelmed by the man Trump. And he has been agreeing to a lot of things. Ordinarily, FIFA, as we know, at times, it's like they are even bigger than governments in the world. Over time, they've always been bigger than governments. But in this situation, you have to be kowtowing to whatever Mr. Trump wanted. So and that's why UEFA, they are not happy with Infantino. But unfortunately, they cannot do anything to him. Infantino will get re-elected. Yeah, he will get re-elected very soon. So they know all this one. So we can't just remove politics from sports as it is. And because it's in a society, and that society thrives on politics too.
All right, let me come to Hakeem. This World Cup, there has been it was termed VAR was a serious issue.
Yeah.
At some point, it was called Argentiva because it felt that it's favoring Argentina the more. Now, the call for scrapping of VAR has resurfaced again because of this World Cup. Did VAR did wrong, or was it because the rules were adjusted a little bit before this World Cup and we are not familiar with the rules?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think the VAR has come in to help football, to manage situations, to get the right course in time, not afterwards. Because most times back then, we watch situations, we at home or watching from TV, we have the chance to have a review to see what has happened. But then the referee doesn't at the time. So most times we see injustice, so to speak. But then when VAR came, there was a chance to have a review. Now they can even take as much as possible to review the situation and make the right call. But then my problem with VAR is, if there is a way, let me just talk about the solution then. If there is a way to make VAR work automatically and not having humans still making the call, because then the VAR is just the name. It's just for you to review the situation, see it again, and make the right call, or probably call the referee, the center referee, to come and review the situation and make the right call. But then football is about interpretation. All these rules is about interpretation. They will tell you a particular rule and tell you because a player doesn't intend to. They watch the intention and say, okay, because of this intention, this is the verdict, or because of that intention, this is the verdict. So you can get different call to different situations. But for me, I think if VAR can work exactly like goal line technology, where goal line technology will tell you it has crossed the line, it's a goal. It doesn't, it's not a goal. So the referee doesn't have to say anything. Nobody has to review or tell you or interpret anything. It's just a goal or not a goal. So when it comes to offside too, I think now it's automated. So it works like that too. It's either an offside or not an offside. Not VAR telling you, oh, they are drawing a line, they're doing this, they're doing that. So I think if calls like free kicks, can be done that way, and straight verdict will just come from the VAR automatically, whether it's a foul or not, whether it's a penalty or not, then that will be fine. It will be perfect then, because most times people talk about how much the fans has to wait before these decisions, and then imagine having to wait 5 minutes only to come out and then they tell you what is not. Most of the time, yes, if it favors you, you agree. If it doesn't, you say, but we know what we are saying most times. Some of the calls that went in the favor of Argentines, even myself, we had a couple of, with my friends, we had a couple of arguments about it, that, oh, it is a foul, it is not a foul. But for the finals, I think it was fair. Generally, I think football won. There was no way Argentina would have, give the Spanish guys much problem, because I think their pattern of play is dominating the ball. So when you dominate, you have like 80% or 85% of chance to win a football match. So yes, I know the pragmatic ones wins sometimes, but it doesn't always come.
Yeah.
Here and there you get your wins, but majorly teams that dominate, and that's what the Spanish guys are enjoying. Same way the Moroccans are the best team in Africa, not just because they won the Nations Cup. Controversially, but not because of that, but because of how they represented Africa in the World Cup. They did us proud. Same thing with the Cape Verdeans. So, but generally, I think VAR should stay. I think it's good modern technology that is here to help football, and it's helping football so far. The previous Nations Cup, everybody in the world was talking about the VAR the way it was used in Africa, because the interpretations were almost 100% perfect. So, and that's what we want. We want that consistency. We don't want the situation whereby fans still need to, in the league last season, Premier League last season, FA had to come out a couple of times to apologize to teams because VAR review was wrong. Or sometimes they are supposed to review a situation, but you just see them saying they don't, for a reason that is not understandable. So they've come out to apologize. Why are you coming out to apologize when you already said there's a VAR to help you and you are not using it the right way? So I think majorly it's about using the VAR the right way.
Okay, but let me just permit me to add 2 sentences to what you have said. We've got some things wrong with VAR. VAR is an assistant. An assistant to the referee. It's supposed to assist the referee in making some judgments. Just like he analyzed. The referee does not have, he has a split second to make a decision. Unlike we that are watching the game. And those of us at home, we can see the screen and see a review. He doesn't have that. So now, the video assistant is supposed to see it and say, okay, referee, there's this. But we have got it wrong because they've all abdicated their responsibility and given it to VAR. And don't forget, somebody runs the VAR machine. It's not the machine automatically. Somebody will now have to look at it and decide. And it's a human being. He can get it wrong too. So, but where the referee now has a thing is that because he is the supreme being there, is the one to now say, okay, that's why you will now be called to the pitch side monitor. And he will now look at it and say, oh, okay. And during that period, he's having a conversation with the VAR official. And he's now saying, no, I disagree with this, I disagree with it. In the English Premier League, most of the times they left it to the VAR to decide. And
Yeah.
even when they might have had contrary opinion, but they just allowed it, and that was where a lot of things went wrong. So I think we need to get back to that and know that VAR is to assist the referee.
Central referee. Yeah.
It is not to officiate the game.
Okay, let me go back to Akin. You could see that this is the first time you will have the 48 team being featured, and of course you have a 3 host nation, and of course it came with expectations that this is going to allow a country like Cape Verde and the likes to actually, be part of the World Cup. Those expectations set, to that effect, were they met? Or
Yeah, we can argue that it was met. They recorded the most attendance, and that these are the World Cup is to bring everybody together. I mean that's the intention, and then if you can bring as much as possible together, then I think I'm a fan, and there's already talk now about making it 64 teams. So that would be very challenging, I know for a fact. But also it makes it more interesting. It means that it will be difficult to win the World, more difficult that is to win the World Cup. But then it's fine. It's just that the players that really want to suffer because it means that they have to play so many matches because you'll be playing so many teams. It means that after a football season, club season, you have to go into the World Cup. Yes, it's every 4 years. It's not like every 2 or 3 years. But then you have long time to play. You will not rest. The season is probably beginning almost immediately after the competition. You have to go back to your team, maybe rest a bit. So it is going to be challenging for the player, but for we fans, we are going to be having to enjoy ourselves, definitely. For the attendance, to the positivity, for most of the teams, we've seen Cape Verde is a big example of what we are talking about. They've come into the tournament as an underdog, first time out, but they still made themselves proud. Bitia, their goalkeeper, had like 50,000 followers on his social media, and then went up to like almost 15 million now. These are the kind of situations we want to see. At the time before the tournament, he said he wasn't able to bring his mom into the country to see him. He's unfortunate. And then in like 3 or 4 days, we already seeing news about his mom going to meet him, and she later met him. The next match, the mom was there in the stands to share with his son. So these are the kind of stories we want to see. Football is part of our life. Literally day-to-day activity, the passion, the love, the disappointment, the heartbreak, everything in life is in football. Yesterday, like you said in the beginning, some people were laughing, while some were crying. Arguably the best player ever to play football, Messi, was there crying yesterday while Gianni that was literally like his son was there celebrating. So all these stories is what makes football so beautiful. Arguably the best sport in the world. There's no way, two ways to talk about it. So this idea of more teams, I'm a fan.
Okay, ask your question. I have to answer a certain question.
More like an addendum. Looking at the economy, talking about the rates with which tickets is being sold. We're discussing that earlier. Like the least ticket you could get was $10,000 sort of. Is that not one of the reasons FIFA made a lot of money in this particular tournament? Is that not why they are not even waiting to, explore what the 48 team is going to do, rather than just jumping to a 64, using that as a narrative? The money aspect of it, is it not also a trigger for FIFA this time around?
Yeah, fortunately or unfortunately, in every decision, some people are going to like what they get. Some people, there is always disadvantage and disadvantage in things, so whether you like it or not. So technology, I remember back in the days when there is only manual cars, and then when there is introduction of automatic, I remember then that people were saying, oh, if your car gets faulty, you cannot, sorry, I was speaking about that, and say you cannot use your phone. That there's no way you'll be able to start the car with your clutch, that they can't push it. There's all sort of negativities about it then. And people end up saying, you know what, there are advantages too. You just get to rest your left leg, just accelerate and then brake. When you're in traffic, you don't need to be clutching up and down, so it's less stressful. So in the end, we embrace it, leaving the disadvantages of, if it stopped working, how do you do it? It's not easy to push, and also it's issue of a injector, and what's the other one? Carburetor. Yeah, there's arguments about that one. So all sort of things like that. It's just like normal life. once decisions come like this, there'll be positives, there'll be negatives to take from it. I can also agree that people criticize FIFA a lot about this World Cup. There is hydration break, which I still think is the word that is coming to my head is not so good. It's not nice, basically, because I think it's I think it's a lot. It has a lot to do with US, because they are the one that are bringing in all these ideas that wants to look their own version of football.
Okay.
Yesterday we saw something like that. Halftime, there is too much going on. There is this UFC announcer in the stadium announcing the match. It's a football match. It's not UFC. Why is he there announcing? It's fair. I mean, for me, they did too much. They wanted to put more of their own templates in the football that they gave us. But then, I don't think that will continue in the next competition. I think Infantino will even think twice before going the US direction again, because you have to manage Trump, you have to manage the situation. And well, kudos to him, he made a mistake, clearly. And then from the middle of that competition towards the end, there was less pressure, less controversial decisions and all that. But as regards their decision on the this thing, I think it's not so good for me. But regardless, I think they are going to work a lot on the situation now, because they've seen people have criticized them a lot. There was a time I heard something about not bringing water into the stadium because you have to buy and stuff like that. They want to generate revenue. Yes, we know they have to. They are organizing the competition with a lot also. But then it doesn't mean that you should exploit the fans that want to just come and enjoy football. It's not easy. So, but it is what it is. I hope they work on all these flaws, because it's not what we want to be experiencing as fans.
Yeah, Mr. Rabi, I want to come to you on this one. Yesterday, the final was played, and this World Cup, one of the things that characterized was the battle of the GOATs. So many arguments back and forth on the greatest player of all times and all of that. But yesterday, we had the individual awards. After the trophy was presented, Golden Ball went to Rodri. The Golden Glove, that one is undebatable, went to Nice Simon, young player. Now, the issue now is with the Golden Ball. There is a serious argument about Golden Ball going to Rodri instead of Messi.
Yeah.
And there's also a serious argument about the consistency of the top scorer went to Kylian Mbappe, and the second top scorer is supposed to be Lionel Messi. So with all these efforts, according to the arguments, why wasn't he given any individual award?
He didn't get it. Yeah. He needed to score 3 goals or so, 2 goals and at least 1 assist to beat Mbappe. He couldn't, because he was not at the party yesterday. On a normal day, maybe when Messi was about 22, 23, he could have gotten those goals yesterday. But you saw that he was already walking, waiting for the ball to come to his feet, and then he would do the magic. So he's not the Messi that we knew again. Of course, we can't blame
the age.
The expectations he had for Inter Miami. He was literally carrying that his club. So it all fell on him. And don't forget that Argentina is not a country, it's not a team of many exceptional players. And you see, that's why Spain. Because Spain, you can't just pinpoint somebody and say, oh, but everybody, all hopes rested on
Messi.
Then perhaps Emiliano, the goalkeeper, perhaps Julian Alvarez in the attack. That's all. Now, Messi didn't get the kind of service that he was getting before. So he couldn't. So it was like from the first game when he scored a hat-trick, he just came down, he descended. And you can't just blame it, it's nature that comes around. So, and don't forget that Rodri, you may not notice him, but he's a very, very good midfielder that he will be very hardworking. If you remember very well, I think he got a Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
And there was a time he got think was it for Man City.
Yeah. He has conquered football, literally. He has won everything, individually or
He deserves it because I'm a Lionel Messi fan, and I was not happy yesterday because I wanted either of them to win, but I wanted it more for Argentina because of Messi. Yeah. But at the same time, we all know that Messi, if they had given him the best player award yesterday, it would have been a travesty of justice. Yeah. And the same thing, the goals were not coming. Mbappe came in against England. He didn't spend 10 minutes, he scored 2 goals. So you just have to give it to him. He scored almost in every match that he played. He scored 10 goals. No, you can't just leave him. Messi, and that's why some of us are not happy because like Messi was not happy because you may not be expecting him at the next World Cup. And this would have been the one that should have been the crowning moment for him. But unfortunately, they were lucky to meet in Spain. And then the tactics they used too. Because they didn't come alive in the game at all. They only came alive when they conceded. They were just trying to say, okay, let us contain them. And let's see what can come if we can get some counter. And the person who's going to work the counter is supposed to be a Messi, with somebody giving me the ball or he supplying the pass. But those things didn't work. And Spain, you have to give them credit. For the past 20 years or so, the way they built their football, there are 2 academies that are very outstanding. Those are academies owned by Barcelona, and that's where Messi himself grew up. And then the one by Real Madrid. They produce players of outstanding, and that's why they won under 17, under 20, the Olympics, and the World Cup. So you just have to accept that fact.
All right, Akeem, from 24 nations to 48, unfortunately, Nigeria did not go. And I was one of those that silently bitter.
When it comes to Nigeria,
no, I'm not even going to Nigeria really, but because there were Nigerians in the World Cup in other nations' colors, and they did tremendously well. Saka scored a hat-trick, and is according to the history, is number 4 now, hat-trick scorer in England shirts ever in the World Cup. We have Falani Balogun, did excellently well for United States. We have Manuel Akanji, and all of that. Now, what does that translate when it comes to Nigerian spirit? When it comes to how I just mentioned 3 out of the so many that were in I knew one for the Canadian guy that played for Canada, 2 of them in Canada, and all of that. What does that mean to us, and what can we do better?
Well, there's no much that we can do better. There are Nigerians everywhere in the world, so we cannot accommodate everybody. The truth is, it is always going to be like that. It has always been like that. I mean, we have pool of talents, and it's only fair that we share some of those talents with the rest of the world. So for me, we are using it. I think it's just our management that has been poor. Because we talk about Morocco, we talk about what they are doing individually. Nigeria have the last the Nations Cup, for example. Now, I mean the Nations, the African Cup of Nations. Now, we've not been that bad, apart from the fact that we didn't win. But we have an Osimhen that wins the African Footballer of the Year. We have a Lukman winning African Footballer of the Year. So it shows you individually we have those players, but it's just collectively that we are behind. So I think if we can get a lot right, like the Moroccans, definitely we have the tools to get there. We are just not, managing or organizing what we have. We're good enough. So that's just basically for me. But let me add to the I want to add to the Messi this way. I think Messi and Ronaldo should think of a way of wrapping it up. It's fine to leave football before football leaves you. Everybody will not be like Zizou. By Zizou, I mean Zidane. He left when the ovation was high. Everybody will not be like that, I know. But now they have set their own standards so high that they are used to carrying teams. I'm sure their back should be aching now. So it's just fair that you should just rest and then just leave the national team for. Let's start from there, and then club football, maybe a season or maybe two, just let it go too. But for Messi, he has gone on to do what Maradona did. In 1986, he won his first World Cup. The 4 years after, in Italy, I believe, in Italy 90. So he got to final, lost to the Germany one. So let's just say, let's take that as a positive for Messi. Let's say he follows Maradona's lead. So that's fair. I think he should just retire from international football.
I'd like to speak to the Nigerian issue now, because there's this, for me personally, there is skepticism. Most of these players that we have are at their peak at the moment. And by the next World Cup, Osimhen will be around 30
early 30s,
was the Moses Simon will be over 30. What should
will be
all of them will be almost.
That's not a. We always when we want to console ourselves, we say, there are so many Nigerians at the World Cup. You didn't qualify. Yes, because they are not carrying Nigerian passports. So they are not there for Nigeria. There are many across the world. Don't forget too that you too poached some people. Because they were just like, okay, they were born there. Some never knew this place before. The only when they were playing football was when we got to know them, and or maybe they came around. Now we're not the only one in that business. Congo did that. Congo did that. Morocco too. They have some 1 or 2 or 3 like that.
They have more actually.
So everybody is doing it nowadays. But I don't even support that, because you see, it makes our people to now forget grassroots development. And why are we in sports? One of the things that many of us are in sports is to empower ourselves. So if you now leave them and start to pursue those ones that are abroad, who are already made in certain respects, then you are bringing about a problem. Develop your own front. When you develop your own front, then you can now look for one of them. After all, we were doing well too before. In the days of them, Sheikh Wadegwami, and the late Mudalawal, Adokia Misimaka, we were doing well. Yeah, we had some problems. I think 1980, when we wanted to play Nations Cup and the World Cup qualified, we had to go and bring the Tuji Banjo, Chidoze, I think Chidoze was there. So, when it comes to those players, because don't forget, the major thing is the management of resources and personnel. If you don't still get it right, you still have the problem. If you don't get that right, and we've been lucky. This last one, we had good money. What we spent, should be close to about 15 billion or more. And we still didn't get a ticket. Why? We didn't manage the resources very well. Because I always say this, when the draws were made, you saw that South Africa has been paired with you, it's been in your same group. You have Zimbabwe, who don't have a CAF approved pitch. You have Lesotho, who don't have a CAF approved. So they now were playing in South Africa. South Africa had an opportunity of playing almost like about 8 out of 10 matches. That was when we should have done some other things on the ground, which would have been Zimbabwe. Come and play in Nigeria. Or go and play your match in Kenya. We'll foot the bill for you. Yes, we had the money. We could have done that so that if that didn't work, then we make noise. Yeah, we make noise because South Africa had a very big advantage over us. A very big advantage. They played all those matches, they were just winning them. We now started playing catch up after some time. So,
doesn't that put a question mark on so many things? Some of us blamed the FA. I blamed the federation because of the almost all our first 3 matches was a draw.
Yeah, we had those problems.
The recruitment of the coach, changing of coach, the quality of the coach, and also the politics in player selection. So many things. I feel the FA did wrongly. But what do you think? What do you put the blame on now, and how do we correct it now that we have a coach that just signed a new contract?
You see, the problem then, you were talking about Joseph Pereira. Then we had Finidi coming in. I think they played 4 matches in group, and then we had only 2 draws or so from those 2 matches. Yeah, we had a problem then, but you see, it's still a matter of management of it, because when you are, okay, this morning you know that you are coming for this program, you didn't start planning this morning. You started planning for it since maybe Thursday or Friday. So we don't do that. That's where we get some things wrong. And if we claim that we do it, we just pay lip service to some of those things. You know that you are going to play qualifiers. What are the things you are doing in terms of the management? They're already thinking all of these ones now. Germany, immediately they know that Nagelsmann was doing.
Yeah.
They started thinking about that. They started talking with Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah.
France.
Yes, I agree with the job actually.
They talk with
Zidane. Yeah.
It is when we now started to go into, when we are now in the competition, then we now start to talk about the coach. So you don't start thinking about the journey when you're already embarked on it. That's where we make a mistake every time. It is not as if the resources are not there. We can always mobilize resources. You can imagine us, presidency, budgeting for even those qualifiers that we couldn't now get the playoffs. We already had money that we would have played if our petition had succeeded. The money was available for us to go and play. Even though if we had gotten that, we would have lost. Then you don't prepare your players mentally. Mentality comes, because Argentina are not a fantastic team as such, but they play with a very good mentality.
Yes.
That we must die here if we don't get that result. We must die here.
Okay, talking about dying here, you know, it's not only Nigeria that we want to see win the World Cup. I don't know if that would ever happen, but I'm sure it's happening. If all these things you're, talking about, the level of preparation is actually being factored. Let's look at Africa as a whole. No African nation has actually won the World Cup before. And you could talk about the fantastic players we've been able to produce, the fantastic national teams that we have all across the continent, and you're still wondering, we have not won the World Cup. What exactly should we be doing differently at this time to at least have something, even host the World Cup really, if that would be part of the game changer?
It's not so difficult. The Moroccan way, that's the easiest way. The Morocco are going the right path at the moment. That's why they are hosting many CAF competitions at the moment. Their women team are doing well. Their youth teams are doing well. The main national team are doing well. They almost had consecutive semi-finals. If they had gone on to get to the semi-final, they got to the quarterfinals this time. If they had got to the semi-final, it would have been first time an African team will have consecutive semi-final appearance. So it means that, and if you watch their quality of football, they can actually go all the way. They are having a proper competition against teams like a team like Argentina. This is what we've not seen in a long time. Most times we see African teams, accept defeat sometimes before the match kickstart. But we are seeing a Moroccan team with so much confidence. Yes, they have most of their players born outside the country, but it doesn't really matter. They are Moroccans and they are doing well. But I think in some years back, we've seen Nigeria and the US and US '94, come into the World Cup to represent Africa well. We've seen Senegal do it at some point. We've seen Cameroon do it at some point. But then no one has gone past the semi-final. Morocco now are looking like a team that can actually go there, because it's not just about where they got to, it's the brand of football that they played before they got there. It's not fluke. They're actually playing really well. They are given chance before a match against a top European team. So that tells you, if they go on this way, this path, they can actually maybe win, maybe get to final. If they get not an easy fixture, but maybe an easy fixture. Sometimes you get lucky like that in the tournament. Your route to that final can just be very easy. For example, Argentina had an easy route to this World Cup final than Spain. Spain had it rough, and that's why most people are saying football won.
So,
okay.
Maybe we should go back to the World Cup again proper. Generally now, what do you consider the legacy of this particular 2026 edition of the World Cup?
What it would be for me would be the fact that, but then because the environment provided for it, that's the fact that despite all those things that were placed, the orders that were placed in front of many spectators, the fans, they still got there. You had matches where we had 60, 70,000, 50,000
attendance.
I think that is a major plus for us because we were talking about it the other time that the tickets. It's not easy for an African to go and watch a home.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
I mean the conversion.
Because, the ticket here you could have gotten like $2,000. You could have gotten less too. But that means you'll be in the upper terraces. Where you'll be looking at the pitch like this. To look at the people will be very tiny. But where you are, where the hospitality package is, $5,000, $7,000. But now, look at $5,000. Maybe that's what I make in a year as my salary. Then you get there. Of course, because we are different, because these people save ahead of time. You can see, they just see it as vacation. So the spectators have been able to enjoy football. And what was brought up to the table, just like he said, if Spain had not won, it would have not been good for football because they won into the competition. First game, goalless, then they started coming up. And it is not easy to beat them. It's not easy. Because for them to beat France that way, France was like a machine. Because like when you look at those 3 or 4 up front, Mbappe, Olise, Dembele, Doe, and Bakola at times.
Bakola.
You will discover that it's not easy to beat this team. They may have some flaws defensively, but when they keep on attacking, there's nothing you can do about it. That's why when England scored 4, they still came and then they were almost
equalized.
So I think we had good football, and that's what we should have: good football, good spectatorship.
All right. One of the high points of this World Cup was the resignation and the sack of coaches. Starting from the end of the first round, we saw coaches that were sacked. German coach Nagelsmann was sacked. Portuguese coach Roberto Martinez was sacked. So many. We saw so many. Now,
Tunisia was the worst.
Tunisia, even in the competition, 2 games, they sacked. The first game, they sacked their coach. Now, the English team now, they couldn't beat Argentina in the semi-finals, and there was the social media blew up, and so many people calling for the sack of Thomas Tuchel, saying he should have done this, should have done that. That's a story for another day. But to what extent is the work of a coach, coach responsible for the outcome of a match? To what extent? How are we not overburdening coaches reflecting on this World Cup?
Yeah, as good as the players you have as a coach, but also the players' performance is the reflection of your instructions. So as a coach, yes, you are the first man, you are the one that make the calls, you are the one that selects the players, you are the one that tells them how to move, how to approach the match. Tactically, you are the one that tells them what to do, literally. So your template should always show. When you watch some things, sometimes in the first 5 to 10 minutes, you know what they want to do. You know if they want to play an high line. You know if they want to sit back and counter attack. You already know all these things just by watching them. And when you see a team that are making wrong decisions or making more tactical decisions, that rests on the coach's shoulder. When it comes to tactical decisions, that's the coach. Yes, the implementation can be somehow, but you will know what they are trying to do. If they are not doing it well, that's on the players. But if they are not doing the right thing, that's on the coach. But you need to know where to pass the right information. And that's where I think people were calling out for 2K said. I think they were in a situation whereby they didn't need to defend. But they kept on defending against an Argentina team that will always coming at you. They're already down. They're a wounded lion. All you need to do is just stay in the game and get as much goals as possible, which was what they now did against France. They were almost in the same situation. They could also retrieve and try and defend what they had, but no, he didn't do the same mistake. He kept on bringing.
His argument was that he didn't have the kind of midfield potential that can match Argentina's midfield capacity.
That's not true. I had very long arguments with my friend Sheila about this particular thing. So many times we keep going back and forth about it. I think he has a minor that can control game in that team, but he's not playing him. He didn't even bring him on that day. He didn't play him 1 minute. He had to bring him on that day, but he didn't. What he did was bringing on defenders to defend. You don't need to tell. Yes, later there was arguments about him saying he didn't tell the players to defend, that the players were doing that on their own. But you are at the sideline. Many times you see coaches tell players move forward or move back or whatever. We didn't see you tell them to move forward. You saw it multiple times. In after their goal, 19 minutes after, England players had 2 accurate passes. 2 in 19 minutes. Guess the players that had the pass. The goalkeeper and Stones. Went past to Stones from Pickford to Stones. That was the 2 accurate passes they had in 19 minutes. Semi-final World Cup. That's horrendous. That's the worst ever start I've ever heard in my life. Because at that stage, how hard can it be to put up passes? So they could not control the game. But the same situation they found themselves against France. They were leading. France were coming back. They were panicking, clearly. It was almost as if France are going to get back into the game. But instead of him bringing in defenders again to defend the game, he didn't do that. It was bringing attacking players. He brought on Bellingham, who eventually scored. So this was what we were telling you. When teams go all out, trying to they're already down. They risk it all. You would know from their substitutions, and that's what Argentina did. We saw the substitution Argentina were doing. It was attackers, meaning they wanted to give it. They're already losing, so they wanted to risk it all. All you need to do is put a player in there that can still get you 1 or 2 goals. It means when they get one and you're able to get one, you're still leading. But when you cut off your shoulders, your feathers, because you don't want to concede, and in the end, it means that you invited pressure, and it could later just hurt you. But generally, for me, about the World Cup, I think the highlight will be Rodri. When he won the Ballon d'Or, many people were saying he didn't deserve it. But if you are a football fan, if you are a football person that has a football knowledge, and you watch Rodri play football, most times people focus on the assists, the goal scorers, the people that create. Most times there's no start for the most compact player or the player that brings teams together, and this is what this guy does. I said it earlier on that he has now conquered football, won everything individually as a group, in club football, in national team. And he said it yesterday that he hopes that the young ones can, look at the story and learn from it, that sometimes your career will be like it's going down, but it doesn't mean that you cannot eventually come up. As at the quarterfinals of the World Cup, no one was talking about Rodri being the player of the tournament. It was between Mbappe and Messi, right? But then, boom, suddenly we realized that Messi doesn't deserve to win it. Mbappe didn't get to the final, so that eliminates Mbappe too. So who else do we have in the Spanish team? Because most times they take the best player from the team that has won. So this is one player that has not scored any goal, that has not assisted any goal. But trust me, he's the man that is making it happen. Protect the defense line. That's why they didn't concede too many goals, And also he's the one that is making things happen up front. You see him everywhere, connecting like octopus, connecting everything in that midfield. So that's what is working well for that Spanish side. But I hope they are able to replace him, because that guy is so good.
Right,
so good.
Our time is up. We have to go now. But I want Mr. Alabi to just say maybe a parting shot as we round off on this program, especially on the weights we have put in on coaches, especially let's say from this World Cup.
When you get a job, you should know that this is a job of pressure. So if you cannot stand the heat, you don't stay in the kitchen. Yeah, because the ultimate decision lies on you, and that's why you can get fired. Even during the match, you can get fired if you don't take the right decisions. That's why they endeavor to pay the coach well, so that he will not be influenced and he will be ready to go when they say he should go. He knows that if he doesn't take that, and that's why you see a lot of them having to stand up most of the game. Because if things go wrong, you must go. So we must put the pressure on the coach because they are carrying a lot of our own emotions. The man that was saying that he did the England coach,
Okay.
he look at Argentina yesterday. Argentina had more shots at goal after they conceded than what they had before they conceded.
Yeah. They had to
because at that point in time, they just felt that look, either if we lose 1-0, it's not different from losing 2-0.
Yeah.
So, but if you go, you can get a goal. So you're being on the sideline and you now started bringing in defenders. You're already telling your players that look, you have to defend. He gave them the message, and they play
psychologically.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I think the coaches should just be ready for that.
All right, the coaches should be ready for that, and we are ready to always give you the best, and also to make sure that you are current, because every current issue should get it right here on New Dawn. Simias, we have to go.
We have to go. Of course, thank you so much for being a part of New Dawn this Monday edition. Wednesday, it will be back with another set of anchors, and tomorrow, Osmojo will be back as well. Thank you for watching, and keep watching the People Study Breakfast.